This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Homosexuality. Either Paul got it wrong, or we got Paul wrong. Paul writes to the Corinthians, and I'm quoting, "Don't you know that wrongdoers will not possess the realm of God? Make no mistake, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who are prostitutes, nor men who seek out male prostitutes, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor slanderers, nor extortioners shall possess the realm of God." End quote. The words translated, quoting again, male prostitutes and men who seek out male prostitutes, end quote, are translated from the Greek that the Douay-Rheims Catholic Bible and the King James translate as effeminate, and the NIV wrongly translates as homosexual, which was not a word used for that in biblical translations until the mid-20th century. The actual word is ambiguous and most accurately means soft. Contemporary scholarly consensus is that the meaning is, as I read it earlier, again quoting, men who are prostitutes and men who seek out male prostitutes, end quote. The problem for Paul then isn't the genders involved in a relationship, but whether or not someone is being exploited. Also, in ancient Greco-Roman thinking, women were considered inferior to men. So for men to be forced by rape or prostitution to take on a perceived female role, non-dominant sexual position, would be considered shameful, but not intrinsically evil. Remember, nothing is right or wrong because St. Paul wrote it. But even so, Paul gets blamed for things he may not have even meant. Yup. And when we're reading anything in the Bible, St. Paul or whomever, we have to remember it's translation, from translation, from translation, from translation. And a lot of things, like I appreciate the NIV translation of homosexual. That wasn't even a word that existed until the mid-20th century. So that's something that we really have to consider as we're reading anything in the Bible, and St. Paul as well. So when we're doing our translating, we have to do our homework. And we have to remember that the translators may or may not have done their homework as well, but they certainly did bring in their personal bias.
Yeah. The problem for the first century, especially in the Roman culture, which is where we are now in the New Testament with Paul, well, the entire New Testament, it's basically, it amounts to bottom shaming.
Yeah.
It's not that homosexuality is wrong in the Greco-Roman culture. I mean, the Greeks all but invented it, for heaven's sakes. And Roman emperors, it was almost all of them were, bisexual or gay. So it isn't the sex part and the attraction part isn't the problem. The problem is that men socially are on top, and they are meant to be. And even the Roman household codes, the husband, the father, that he's on top of the social pyramid, just like the emperor is on top of the societal pyramid. Men are meant to be on top. So, but if you're two men together, someone's probably on the bottom. Well, how can one be on the bottom if both are meant to be on top? Well, not all men are equal. So the rich guy can couple up with a slave. The officer can couple up with an enlisted person. If you're already on top socially, or if you're already underneath someone socially, then you can be underneath them sexually.
Gotcha.
Like, because who are you? Like, you're just a little grunt, private anyway, so you don't matter. So it's not shameful for you because you don't have any dignity anyway. But the dignified person, the rich person, the wealthy person, the officer, the nobleman, they thought it was shameful for him to be at all feminized. I mean, he can dress like a woman as long as he is exerting power the way men do. So this is a power issue. This is a dominance issue. Basically, men should never be submissive in any way. And the only way you can't be is if you find someone beneath you anyway. And that way there's no dignity robbed, because they didn't have any to begin with, because they were already inferior to you. But two people of the same class, that's when it becomes a scandal. Jonathan and David, both in a royal household, they clearly are having a love affair. And Jonathan's in love. David, who knows what he's up to. But they are clearly having an affair. They are bisexual. They're in love with they're having a love affair. And Saul has a fit. King Saul says to Jonathan, you son of a rebellious woman, blames it on the wife, blames it on the mother.
Of course.
So that's nothing new. You son of a rebellious woman, do you not know that I am aware that to your shame, you are the companion of Jesse's son? So that tells me that Saul was afraid Jonathan was the bottom. Because otherwise, why? Why would we care? It's a little plaything on the side. But this wasn't some servant. This wasn't some village person.
Yes.
This was someone in the royal household. Somebody is being degraded because somebody's being treated like a woman or a slave. And that's just not okay in this patriarchal honor culture. Now, David's name means beloved. So I'm wondering if he wasn't the one that would have the shame. Because in antiquity, lover and beloved were roles. The lover is the dominant. The beloved is the passive or soft, as the word that was translated as effeminate is in Corinthians. So it's not about sexuality. It's not about orientation. It's not about love. It's not about attraction. It's about power. And men are meant to have power over children, over slaves, over women, over poorer people. And so you can't be submissive without losing your dignity. So it's basically antiquated bottom shaming. It's not against homosexuality per se. It's not against relationships. It's not against love. It's not against what you think about when you masturbate. It's not about any of that. It's about power dynamics, which in our justice work, surely we're not buying into. Surely we don't believe that someone is inferior because they share characteristics of a woman, or with someone from another culture, or because two people from different class backgrounds got together. Surely we're not those people today. And if we're not, then this has nothing to say to us.
I think it's one of those reminders why we must work to break systems of oppression.
Yeah.
Systems of implied or thought that this is about me, not about you. And so I was thinking about this, this whole thing around fraternirization. It was a big thing in military. You don't fraternize with people that's a rank above you or a rank below you. You stay in your own structure. And so I don't know if HR would buy much of that today, but maybe an HR nightmare.
Well, isn't that though so that you won't?
It's about power.
About misusing,
it's about power.
That's why you can't date your therapist, because they sort of have
power.
Right.
They're in your head. They've got some power over you.
And so I think that we, one way we look at it is how do we maintain order, systems that work, to make sure they're equitable, and also then we have to call this kind of stuff out too. That this is not the behavior we want to see implied upon anyone. Abusive relationships. I'm thinking child abuse power. I'm thinking about abusive relationships. It's about power, and even in this context, it's one of those reminders that we have to be aware these things are actually happening around us. How do we name it, call it out, and bring some healing to it?
Yep.
This is why I like the Queer God Squad. This is also why I like Sunshine Cathedral. I cannot imagine too many places that people can go to where they are going to learn a little bit of stuff, that they're going to have some homework that they get to take home with them so that they can grapple with conversations that they may have had in the past. Where else can you go but the Sunshine Cathedral, sunshinecathedral.org, Queer God Squad, Midday Prayer? Anywhere that we are going to hit you with a little bit of knowledge. We're going to allow you to look at what you've thought was fact and say, well, maybe it's not. Maybe there's something in there that I need to look at a little bit closer. Just because I've heard it for 70 years doesn't mean that it's correct. So I invite you to travel with us, to come to our church, to find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, listen to our Sunday services, and you will realize that we're not taking anything from you. We're giving you a chance to learn a little bit something different. We talk about historical context. I love talking about that because once we understand where the writer is coming from, we have a better understanding of what they were trying to do, to whom they were talking to. So I love that we do this, and I love that the Queer God Squad is available to everybody so that we can cover this kind of stuff.
I'm going to leave an open question. I'm going to leave this with an open question. Paul isn't saying that if you do this, first of all, the list he gives is a long list. So while you're pointing your finger, you're probably on the list. I mean, it's a long list. But also, He doesn't say that you'll be damned. He doesn't say you'll be cursed. He says you won't inherit the realm of God. What is that?
Yeah.
What is the realm of God? It's not heaven. When it's used in the Gospels, it's not heaven. In the Gospels, the realm of God is the incoming. God's going to break through and make this world a better world, a more just and loving and fair world. That's the realm of God. You're not going to be in the realm of God, Paul says, if you're involved in these exploitive or hateful things or whatever. So when he says, when the consequences, you won't inherit the realm of God, what does that mean? And probably not the way you've been used when you've been using it in homophobic ways.
All right.
Amen.